Good afternoon, Patriots. This is Praying Medic, and this is my QAnon broadcast for Wednesday, April 15th, 2020. Those of you who are following along at home, you can find Q's posts on a number of different websites, including QAnon.pub, QMap.pub, and QAlerts.app. If you have an Android device and you'd like to get notifications about Q's posts, QMap and QAlerts are available in the Play Store. For iPhone, you'll want to get the Pushed app and then look for the QAlerts updates. For those of you who have been getting notifications today, I think mostly from QMap, and you're not seeing Q's posts, you're not hallucinating. There might be a malfunction with the app. There have been a number of posts today. Some people have been sending me messages saying that they're not seeing the new posts, but there are posts. We're going to cover them. My theme for this broadcast is Imagine If We Weren't Here. Interesting thought. So for those of you who are new to Q, I've been getting a lot of questions from people. Where do I start? I don't know anything about Q. I don't know anything about politics. I want to learn more about it. This is all confusing. I wrote a book called Calm Before the Storm. It is the first in a series of books on Q. And this covers the early stages of Q's operation. It explains why Q began posting on 4chan. It explains the nature of Q's operation, how Q interacts with the Anons. You're going to see actually a lot of that today. On today's broadcast, there's a lot of interaction between Q and various Anons on the board. I wanted to show you something. Here's one reason where you might want to check out my book. I have a glossary at the back of the book. It has over 500 terms that are found in Q's posts. You see this Q research with the / on both ends. So what does that mean? What is the three-sided pyramid? When you see that, who is number 2? When you see the word like fly or fly coats fly and there's hashtags in front of it, what does that mean? There's a lot of people that have hashtags in front of their names. What does 30 mean when it's in brackets? What is brackets? Space, 93DK. What is an E in brackets? What is an F in brackets? What is an R in brackets? Who is 6+? Who is 6++? What is 187? Right, so all these acronyms, abbreviations, numbers, codes, brackets, I've covered all the ones that I could find that are in Q's posts. If there is a abbreviation, acronym, an agency, a person that you might not know, I tried to include it in the glossary, and I explain who these people are, what the abbreviations mean. So that is one reason why you might want to check out my book. All right, it is available on Amazon and also Barnes & Noble. It's actually available in most bookstores. This morning, Dr. Oz discussed a trial of hydroxychloroquine that is being done in South Dakota, and Q posted a link to this video and let you listen to it.
I want to applaud Governor Noem. They teamed up with Stanford Healthcare, which is the largest rural healthcare provider in the country. I've known them for quite a while. I actually was in contact with them this morning just to make sure I got the details right. And here's what the plan is. They're going to do two things. A registry, which would allow them to collect data on all the patients that get treated who are COVID-19 positive. So you come in, you're infected, if you're high risk, or there's another reason that they think you should be treated, they're going to give you the medication. They have up to 100,000 people worth of doses, so they'll treat a lot of folks if they need to and collect data. Equally importantly, they're going to do a prophylactic randomized trial, which means they're going to very precisely take people who are healthcare workers who are clearly exposed or high-risk people who are exposed, like over the age of 80, over the age of 45 with a comorbidity, or younger than 45 but 2 comorbidities. Please remember those criteria because they're important. That's how South Dakota is defining high risk. That might be how other states define high risk when it comes to who gets to go out and go back to work and who maybe should wait at home for a little while, because it's those high-risk groups that become the majority of the hospitalized patients, the majority of the ICU patients, and ultimately the majority of people who die. So I applaud these guys for doing it. By the way, on my show today, I have the University of Minnesota researchers doing something very similar. A couple thousand patients looking at both prevention in one arm, but treatment in the other arm. And as you know, I spoke to Didier Raoult, the famous French infectious disease specialist. I'm almost going to air that interview today. He's very clear on a couple of things. First, he says hydroxychloroquine in his hands at his institute in Marseille is safe. He met with the French President Macron for 3.5 hours last week to summarize his data, and he'll go through it in details. But fundamentally, he says that 96% of people, there is no virus left at the end of 10 days. And the 4% where there's measured virus in the nose, when they try to actually culture the virus, it doesn't grow. So it means that his patients are becoming less infectious. Now, it's not randomized, but those are just basic observations about his patients. If we could emulate that elsewhere, it would, I think, help us deal with this virus more effectively if it pans out in the South Dakota trial, in the University of Minnesota trial.
Q, after posting a link to the video, said, be informed. Boris, think for yourself. Trust yourself. Q. All right. Thinking for yourself means developing your own discernment. It means deciding for yourself if a video, an article, or news report is true. It means resisting the urge to send that to someone else and ask them for their opinion. And I get a lot of these in my inbox. And I value the fact that people respect my opinion. However, when you send information to somebody else and say, hey, what do you think of this? You are actually becoming dependent on other people. You're not thinking for yourself. So we need to learn to think for ourselves. All right. And going back to this Boris thing, Boris Johnson. Boris was treated in St. Thomas Hospital in the UK for COVID-19, and he was given hydroxychloroquine. We think that he was. The hospital was actually doing a trial on hydroxychloroquine. He went into the ICU, came out a few days later, and was fine. So I'm assuming he got hydroxychloroquine, and I think that's what Q was mentioning in this particular post. So the Anons noted that Q was posting on the Tor network this morning, and Anon said, I am, same as you, Q, having to go. Tor, we're under attack. Q responded, always. 8kun is always under attack. And CodeMonkey does his best to keep it online, but it's difficult. CodeMonkey is a technician who runs 8kun. This Anon said, you have to sense the tension building, Q. It's becoming a tinderbox. And Q responded, imagine if we weren't here. Now just think about that. I rely heavily on Q as a source of information. Not my only source. I get information from a lot of sources. But Q informs much of my opinions, views, and my take on current events. And Q continues, while it is difficult, it is important to understand this must be done by the book. Average people must be able to digest and accept factually events. Factually is in brackets. FISA is the lead-in brackets, stage 1, act 1. So FISA is the beginning of the exposure of corruption. Bad actors had to be removed. Good actors had to be installed. Sleepers had to be uncovered. We are ready. In brackets, think, bar, public, Q. All right. And as we mentioned yesterday on the broadcast with Joe DeGeneva's comments, Joe DeGeneva said, look, you know there are going to be indictments. Barr would never have made the public statements that he made if he did not have information proving that Barr was going to be bringing indictments against people. So Q said, we are ready. It's difficult to wait, but everything has to be done by the book. People who are still asleep have to be presented the facts. And this is Act 1 is coming up. This Anon said, totally agree. Q is trying to tell some Anons that this is about the normies, how important they are because they're still seeing the deep state lie. This Anon said, we shudder to imagine a situation without Q being here since October 2017. It would have been utter information chaos. It's true, it would have been. It would be hard to find someone giving us a straight truth if it wasn't for Q. This Anon said, imagine if we weren't here, pick related. For those of you who are listening on the podcast, burning alley with explosions and skeletons running down the alley. All right, this Anon said, our country and the world would be destroyed if not for the Q movement. We know the ending, God wins. It won't be totally clean. War is like that. And this Anon said, hey, we are ready too. Keep up the good work. Can't imagine what they're using to attack this site. All for a LARP. Another Anon chimed in, awesome Q. We are ready if you are. Another Anon said, and we are ready. Thank you, Q. I can't imagine where we'd be without all of your team's efforts. Where we go one, we go all. God bless you and yours. This Anon posted a picture of a flag with a little cross highlighted in the middle. Just like Q and Q+, put on the armor of God, patriots. Keep praying. In the end, God wins. Where we go one, we go all. Q responded to that post. These people are pure evil. This is not about politics. You are ready, Q. And this Anon said, we were taught well. We learned. We are ready. Where we go one, we go all. This Anon posted a meme. Evil has no place here. Pure evil has no place anywhere. We are ready. This Anon said, mainly due to the hard work, dedication, and affection for the people demonstrated by your team. And this Anon posted a picture of an old fighter plane. We are an existential threat to the likes of which they have never seen before. Tally ho. This Anon posted a Bob Marley meme. The people who are trying to make this world worse are not taking the day off. Why should I? And then Anon says, born for it, boss. I feel like I was born for this assignment, doing these QD codes, helping people understand about Q. I feel like this is part of my divine destiny. I love doing it. I enjoy doing it. And some people say I'm pretty good at it. So this Anon said, just protect POTUS Q. That's all we ask. But be safe too. This Anon said, we are praying Q and we are with you. WRWY is an acronym, means we are with you. Justice will come. We proclaim it in the name of the Lord. We trust God and we know his hand is upon you. And another Anon posted a meme, good versus evil, God wins. Keep it together, Anons. Almost there. This Anon, I love this meme. For those of you on the podcast, it's a meme that shows an image of Pepe, the frog, riding a horse on some planet out in the middle of nowhere, and it says, you have come far, Anons, you are ready. And Anon wrote, it's been quite the journey and we have learned much, ready to unleash our true potential. Another Anon said, I suspect there are still a ton of sleepers, Ray Paul Ryan et al. So, Paul Ryan wasn't actually a sleeper. Everyone knew that he was a rhino. People like Dan Coates. Dan Coates was a sleeper. A lot of people thought he was a patriot and he could be trusted, but it turns out he ended up being sympathetic to the deep state. So those are the people that Q is referring to when he talks about sleepers. There are people that most of us thought were good people, that they were patriots, and they weren't. And those people had to be removed. First, they had to be identified, and they had to be removed. So Q responded to that Anon. Do you think it was Paul Ryan's choice to step down? Rising star in the Republican Party. R is in brackets. Speaker of the House. Age. He was not very old. Do you think it was Senator Flake's choice to step down? And then we have a series of dots. And there's 11 dots, as this Anon noted. And this Anon said, to answer your question, sir, negative. It was not Paul Ryan's choice to step down. It was not Jeff Flake's choice to step down. They were all warned that the storm is coming and corrupt politicians would be prosecuted. They got out because they didn't want to be around when the storm hit. This Anon wrote, when will our voice and vote matter again, Q? And the Q responded, it does now, Patriot, more than ever. Think 2016, when Trump won the White House. Think 2020. Think of the world awakening, Q. And this Anon said, Barry O. trying to hijack the term Great Awakening. Barack Obama, in endorsing Joe Biden the other day, said he is urging a Great Awakening in politics. Okay, whatever. Good luck with that. And Anon made a graphic showing Q's prediction about grand juries and confirmation from John Solomon that grand juries have issued subpoenas for cases that are being investigated by U.S. Attorney Durham. There's a graphic, and Q said, we are far beyond the need for proofs. You have more than you know. Durham start. Q op start 5x5 Q. John Durham was appointed U.S. Attorney by Jeff Sessions on October 28th, 2017, the same day the Q's operation began. Coincidence? Especially given that one of the early posts by Q was a picture of George Washington crossing the Delaware in a Durham boat. Yep, look it up. And Q said, "And frogs to destroy them." That is a quote from the scriptures where it says that the Lord sent a pestilence upon the Egyptians, locusts and frogs to destroy them. And Anon posted this: "Frogs will come upon you and your people and all your officials," from Exodus 8:4. All right. That gets us caught up to Q for today. Short broadcast. Please keep me and Denise in prayer. Keep Q and the team in prayer. Keep the president in prayer. Love you all. Take care. I will catch you on the next broadcast.